Good morning, everyone. I'm really sorry that I can't be there with you today to take part in this event on women in leadership roles. I really am sorry, because if I were there with you today, that meant I would have been able to go to my son's play last night in Oakville. Unfortunately, I am here in Ottawa, and I have the ability to send you a message, I hope, and have a little bit of an opportunity to chat with you about something that is near and dear to my heart. You know, I've worked in traditionally male-dominated fields pretty much my entire career. So I do understand the distinct challenge that professional women face. I have been in law, I have been in port system, I've been in the airport system. In fact, I was the harbor master of the Port of Toronto in 2000. In fact, I was the first female harbor master of a Canadian port, and as well, I was 7 months pregnant when they gave me the opportunity to be the harbor master. So it was a very unique opportunity, and certainly did break down some barriers in Toronto at the time. I also am very proud that the Prime Minister asked me to be the first female Minister of Transport for Canada. And I think that says a lot as well, too, in terms of the fact that transportation is not a man's world anymore. It has been mostly a man's world for a very long period of time, but times are changing. Well, somewhat. Diane Craig is there today, the President and CEO of Ford Canada. And of course, last year in the United States, Mary Barra was named CEO of General Motors. So we have lots to be proud of. There are 3 women who serve as CEOs of port authorities in Canada: Karen Oldfield in Halifax, Sylvie Vachon in Montreal, and Donna Taylor in Oshawa, all my very good friends. And in aviation, Joyce Carter recently became President and CEO of the Halifax International Airport Authority, and I'm very much looking forward to working with her. You know, together, we can all be role models for women looking to work in transportation management. And I find that if you see yourself in us, in those roles, then you know that you can have them. I have had the chance to prove myself. I've been lucky in my career to be able to move up the ladder. And my goal right now is to make sure that I give the opportunity to other women to do exactly the same thing. You know, when I speak to marine transportation or road transportation interests, the room is filled with men, unless we're at a women's leadership conference like we are today. But I always take the opportunity to remind the people in the room that if you are in a male-dominated field, fundamentally you are missing out on 50% of the workforce that's available. And this isn't a moral issue, and this isn't a human rights issue. This is an economic issue. When you add women to your complement, when you are diverse, when you're inclusive, your company does better. That's a message I give to everybody in the room. And I take it pretty far, I would say. I would take it to the extent that if a person doesn't have, or a company doesn't have on their board of directors, a woman, then the Minister of Transport may not take the meeting. Maybe it'll be somebody else in my office who will take the meeting. But I do think it's extremely important that we have representation in all areas. And while we may not mandate it, because quotas are not necessarily something that I agree with personally, I will tell you that I can do a lot in my day-to-day career in order to encourage and influence more women in fields where I think we can do fantastic. I noticed today that you're having a trade show and that you're talking about the fact that you wear many hats as women, and I am there with you. I have 2 sons, John Colin and Billy. They're 12 and 9 years old. They're in grade 7 and grade 4, and I try to hit as many events as I possibly can. But, you know, the juggling can be tiring. So I hope that you find some stuff in the trade show that actually works, that allows you to save some time in your life and allow you to achieve that balance that we're all striving for. And by the way, I will let you know, I don't know if there is a balance out there. We can do the best that we can do. And fundamentally, forgive yourself if you don't get it right all the time, because there's only so many things that you can do. And sometimes I can't get every kid to every sporting event that they want, and I need to ask for some help, and I'll do that. But juggling your career and your personal life and your kids and your family and your parents, whatever you're trying to juggle at the time, we do have the skills to do it, and we do have the ability to utilize other tools and methods to help us do it. And we'll never achieve the equity that we want to get in our balance of our life, but we come pretty close. And we need you in the workforce. We need you to be the next generation of leaders. We need you to make sure that those girls who are now in grade 7 and 8 see themselves in roles that they traditionally would not see themselves in. That builds a better Canada. That builds a better economy. And that's good for all of us. So politically speaking, the advice that I give my colleagues, because now I'm in the political world, it's a little bit different than being in the business world. What I say to my colleagues is, women need to see themselves. they need to see themselves in leadership roles. And, we now have a Premier of Ontario who has been elected, the first female elected as Premier of Ontario, which is a great achievement. And of course, it came, I think, and I believe, because many women decided to vote in that direction. And what I'm saying is this, that tell your politicians that it's important for your voice to be heard, that you need to be understood, and that the help that you want may be a little bit different than the help that's been traditionally put before the electorate. And I think it's really important to get that voice out there. I certainly try to listen as much as I can. I come to this job with a very different perspective and a great understanding of what it's like to be the carpooler, to be the one that does the tucking in at night and still at the same time going back and doing work after the kids are in bed. And I know we struggle with the balancing all the time. And I'm always asked about how I do it all. And quite frankly, you can't do it all. But you do your best. And you continue to go down the road of showing that you're a strong part of the workforce, that you're strong in your family, that you're strong in your community. And fundamentally, it's leadership conferences like today are supposed to give you that energy to keep going. Because quite frankly, on the weekend, the one thing that I seem to be striving for the most is a nap. Because it can get very tiring, continuing on the road that we're trying to achieve all the time. Always keep in your mind the generation that went before you and look to them for help. Always keep in mind the generation coming after you and look to help them. And together, we will achieve that 50% in all modes of every workplace, regardless if it's transportation or politics or healthcare, wherever it may be. I wish you all the best for the continued day. I wish I could go on the wine tour with you. I think it's a far better event than I'm going to be facing here in Ottawa the next 2 days. But I'm there with you in spirit. I wish you all the best, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to have a moment of your time.